Welcome to backtokidagain.com. On our channel, we take you back to the magical world of your childhood, where you can once again meet legendary characters such as Thoshsan, Tamcam, and many others. Before watching the video, we kindly invite you to support our channel. As sponsor, Mr. Calvin Ha Fan, a licensed life insurance specialist. Are you looking for a solid financial protection solution for your family and future? Let Calvin Ha Fan, a life insurance expert with many years of experience, help you find the most suitable protection plan. He provides dedicated and professional consultations for all ages and supports life insurance policy setup across all 50 U.S. states. Calvin Ha Fan has life insurance licenses: California Life Insurance License Number 0K94959, Texas Life Insurance License Number 3062871, Louisiana Life Insurance License Number 1205937. Call now at 71-325-34509 for a free consultation.
Commander Lenh Tru, a Tay ethnic folktale. You are now watching and listening to the story Lenh Tru from backtokidagain.com. There once was a peasant couple who had been friends since they were young and just beginning to feel shy around the opposite sex. When they finally set up their own household, they worked hard and diligently. Yet, no matter how much they labored, they never had enough clothes to wear or food to eat. During times of illness or long stretches of rainy, cold weather when they couldn't work, the couple could only lie there, clutching their stomachs in hunger. Despite living in such poverty, they loved each other deeply. Everyone in the village praised them. That couple may be poor, but they live in harmony. Someday they will surely prosper. But in addition to poverty, the couple also had to endure loneliness. They lived together until they were 70 years old and still had no children to carry on the family incense and ancestral rites. One day, the wife whispered to her husband, "I've heard people say that on the peak of that immortal mountain lives a Taoist hermit who is excellent at fortune-telling and giving medicine. Let's try taking a bowl of rice and some incense up there to ask him for a divination and a packet of medicine to pray for a child." The husband had never liked fortune-telling or divination, but seeing his wife plead so earnestly, he finally agreed to go. He crossed 10 streams, climbed 10 passes, scaled 10 high boulders, and finally reached the hermit's cave, just as the hermit returned from his wanderings. The old man politely greeted him, offered the gifts, and asked for a divination and a packet of fertility medicine. The hermit accepted the offerings and cast the oracle. The result was, "The divination tray shows a son will come. You must build 120 bridges. After finishing the bridges, wait a little while. Then your children will rise above others in honor." After reading the oracle to the visitor, the hermit gave him a packet of herbal medicine and earnestly instructed, "Your wife is already very old. Giving birth at this age will be extremely difficult. Whatever kind of child she bears, you must take great care of it. Your child is the reincarnation of a toad. This medicine is very powerful. It strengthens the vital energy, allowing a person to conceive and give birth. When you return home, be sure to follow my instructions carefully." Hearing this, the old couple felt both joy and worry. Even after receiving the medicine, the husband hesitated. Sensing his guest's doubt, the hermit asked what was troubling him. After a long pause, the husband said, "We are both 70 years old. Our strength is weak. Our kidneys are failing. How can we possibly build 120 bridges? Could you please cast another oracle for us?" The hermit smiled and replied, "A bridge across a river is a bridge. A bridge across a stream is a bridge. A bridge across a ditch is a bridge too." On the road from your house to the capital, there are exactly 120 places that need bridges. Go home and discuss it carefully with your wife. You can surely do it." The old man felt somewhat reassured and returned home. Upon arriving, he didn't tell his wife the full instructions from the hermit. He only discussed building bridges and expressed his hesitation. "At our age and with our strength, how can we build 120 bridges? I'm afraid we'll die before we finish them." His wife stood up and said, "Don't worry, husband. Heaven has spoken this way, so heaven will not abandon sincere hearts. Let's go together to inspect the road from our house to the capital and see if there really are 120 places that need bridges. Our health isn't that bad yet. Our hands can still chop wood. Our shoulders can still carry timber. Why worry?" Seeing his wife's enthusiasm, the husband loved her even more. He reluctantly agreed to go with her to survey the road. He said slowly, "All right, whatever strength we old folks have left, let's pour it all out. Perhaps heaven will take pity on us." On the way to the capital, the couple counted exactly 120 rivers, streams, and ditches that required bridges. They returned home and began planning to start work immediately. From then on, at dawn every morning, the couple carried axes and hatchets up the mountain, chopping wood for bridges while also gathering 2 loads of dry firewood to sell at the market for rice money in the afternoon. In the evenings, they carried poles and timber to build the bridges, only returning home late at night. Day after day, they worked tirelessly. After the first afternoon, they looked at each other and shook their heads. Their bodies ached all over. But that night, after drinking the hermit's medicine, they felt refreshed. From then on, drinking the medicine regularly, they grew stronger and more enduring each day. Some days they carried 20 loads of timber and still felt energetic. After 3 months, they finally rested one day. That night, the wife dreamed of a beam of radiant light shining into the room and enveloping her body. She woke up startled and told her husband about the strange occurrence. Neither understood what it meant, but from then on, she felt different inside. The next morning, they continued building bridges. 2 or 3 months later, her belly gradually grew. She was truly pregnant. The old couple was overjoyed, convinced that heaven had seen their sincerity. They worked even harder and faster to finish the bridges. 6 months, then a full year passed, and the elderly couple had successfully built all 120 large and small bridges along the road from their village to the capital. Some were just 4 logs across a ditch, 3 or 4 steps wide, some 6 bamboo poles over a stream 3 armspans long, and the last one nearly 20 armspans across the great river in front of the king's capital. Looking at the completed 120 bridges, the couple felt immense joy. That evening, they slaughtered a chicken to celebrate. At night, counting on her fingers, the wife said to her husband, "From the day I became pregnant until now, it has been 9 months. My lying-in time is approaching. Husband, please hurry back to my mother's family to announce the news and ask for some sticky rice and a few chickens so I have something to eat when I give birth." The road to her mother's family was very far, usually 5 days when they went together. But this time the husband went alone and in a rush, so it took only 4 days. Her younger siblings, cousins, and relatives all rejoiced at the news of their older sister being pregnant and nearing her due date, and everyone happily contributed rice and chickens. The old husband struggled to carry all the gifts back, and because of the heavy load, it took him 7 full days to return home. When he arrived, he saw his wife's belly had shrunk. He knew immediately that she had already given birth. Overjoyed, he eagerly asked about her and the child's health. Seeing her husband so happy made the wife even sadder. Tearfully, she pointed to a little toad under the bed and told him everything. 7 days after you left, I went into labor. I suffered unbearable pain for 3 days and nights, thinking I might die. Then I gave birth to that thing. I was so heartbroken. All our hopes vanished. I thought many times of strangling it to be done with it. But since you were away, I feared that when you returned and found out, you might blame me even more. Right after birth, it hopped down and sat under the bed. Every now and then it hops up to my breast to nurse. When full, it hops back under the bed. Oh, husband, we've lived virtuously and accumulated merit, yet our fate is so cruel. To have one child in old age and it's a monster. I'm so miserable. Now that you're back, please throw it into the river for me." Hearing this, the old man fainted. His wife had to shake him for a long time before he revived. He shouted, "Toad child, come out here! Let me see your face!" The toad croaked "op op," hopped out from under the bed step by step, then jumped into his lap. Seeing this, the old man was furious and about to crush it. Then he suddenly remembered the hermit's words. He calmed down, stared at the toad for a long time, and said to his wife, "Enough. We sincerely prayed to heaven. Heaven gave us a toad child. Surely there's some test in this. Let's raise it carefully and see what it becomes. Besides, the hermit said our child is the incarnation of a toad. Perhaps it's a toad that hasn't yet transformed into a human." Looking at the toad with its bulging eyes staring blankly at its father, the old woman felt moved too. She gently picked it up and said to her husband, "Yes, after all the effort we spent seeking the hermit and building 120 bridges for a whole year, heaven surely won't abandon us. All right, I agree." The toad child hopped away again, quietly sitting under the bed. From then on, every day it hopped up to the bed to nurse from its mother. After 3 months, it stopped nursing and ate from the rice tray. It began to babble and gradually speak fluently. It ate very heartily, 2 or 3 times more than its parents. The old couple had to work even harder every day to earn rice for 3 mouths. Time passed quickly. The toad child was now 12 months old, yet it had only grown a little. Its whole body was barely the size of a fist. One day, while the family was eating lunch, suddenly gongs and drums sounded from the village entrance. The toad child listened attentively. Hearing the king's envoy announcing the search for talented people to defeat the invading enemy, it said to its parents, "This is the moment for me to become human. Parents, please invite the envoy in so I can ask about the matter." The old couple was astonished when they heard their child say it would become human, but they didn't dare invite the envoy, fearing it was a joke and would disrespect the king. Seeing their hesitation, the toad child urged them again and again. Finally, they gave in. The envoy, leading a procession of horses and donkeys, entered the yard. The toad child hopped out step by step and invited the envoy inside to discuss. The envoy said, "For 3 months now, invaders have attacked our country, pillaging and destroying everywhere. The people are suffering terribly. The king has sent many skilled officials and brave soldiers to fight, but none have returned. Now the court has no more talented generals or courageous troops. The enemy has surrounded the capital on all sides. The king has ordered every village and hamlet. Wherever there is talented person willing to volunteer to defeat the enemy, they will be richly rewarded. Does the toad child have any plan to help the court?" The toad child replied, "Yes, if the court has no more talented generals, I will take on the task. Envoy, please hurry back to the court and report to the king on my behalf. I guarantee that in 1 single day I will completely annihilate those stinking foreign invaders." Hearing this, the old couple panicked and pleaded with the envoy. "Our child is only 12 months old. It's just a foolish toad body that has never understood court affairs. If it said anything wrong, please don't hold it against us." Then they turned and scolded the toad child. "Don't talk nonsense. The envoy is the king's man, seeking talented people to save the country. Don't joke with the court, or your parents will suffer consequences. You're just a toad body. You can't even carry your own weight, let alone defeat enemies and save the nation. Go back inside quickly so your parents can apologize to the envoy." The toad child replied to its parents, "From now on, I will become human. Parents, don't worry. Whatever I say, I will definitely do. Rest assured, whether it takes a long time or just 1 day, I will return to you. Those filthy, stinking enemy insects, I don't take them seriously at all." Then it turned to the envoy and continued, "Though I have a toad body, I have a little talent that can benefit the nation. Envoy, trust my words and hurry back to report to the king. If I cannot drive away those demonic invaders, I am willing to accept death." The envoy was surprised and reluctant to believe, but he had to listen. He invited the toad child to follow him to the court immediately. The toad child glanced over the horses and said to the envoy, "You go ahead, I'll hop behind. None of these horses can carry me." The envoy laughed inwardly. "A thing the size of a fist, any horse can carry it." He ordered soldiers to select a big, fat, strong horse for the toad child. The toad child looked at it, shook its head, but hopped on anyway. The horse immediately staggered and collapsed. The envoy was shocked, thinking, "A toad the size of a fist, yet so heavy that even a big, strong horse can't carry it?" He selected another, even larger and stronger horse, but none could bear the toad's weight. In the end, the toad child had to hop on foot, and the envoy walked beside it to the court. The envoy presented the toad child to the king. The king was displeased to see an envoy bringing a little toad, but he reluctantly received it. Sensing the king's lukewarm attitude toward fighting the enemy, the toad child went out to the dragon courtyard and said to the envoy, "The enemy must still be far away and not too threatening yet. I see the king speaks of fighting the enemy so coldly. If that's the case, the court doesn't need me urgently. Please have someone escort me back home. Wait until it's truly critical. Then it won't be too late to call me to help the court defeat the enemy." Realizing the king had offended the toad child, the envoy quickly let it back in and explained everything. The king then apologized for his previous arrogance and said, "The enemy is very strong now. They sent a letter demanding surrender within 3 days, or they will breach the city and burn the palace. To have you willing to support the king and nation is a great blessing for the country." The king asked further, "The enemy has tens of thousands of troops. How many soldiers do you plan to take into battle against them?" The toad child replied, "As a toad, I only need to go alone with 1 horse. Your Majesty, please immediately order the forging of an iron horse weighing 10,000 can for me, using 7,000 can of iron and 3,000 can of steel for the frame, 7 can of women's hair, and 3 can of men's hair for the mane and tail. Also, embroider a command flag, exactly 3 arm spans long and wide, no more, no less. Once I have the horse and flag, I will destroy the enemy at once." This time the king didn't dare underestimate the toad child, though he secretly smiled, thinking, "Who needs a 10,000 can horse? Even 5 or 6,000 kun would be more than enough." So he ordered his ministers to forge the horse and embroider the flag. The next noon, 200 strong men carried in an iron horse weighing 8,000 can. The toad child looked and shook its head, saying to the king, "This horse is still 2,000 can short. It can't carry me into battle. Your Majesty should order another one forged. If you don't believe me, I'll ride it now for you to see." Without waiting for a reply, the toad child patted the iron horse and hopped on. The horse swayed, knelt, and collapsed completely. The king and all the officials were stunned and filled with admiration. The king then ordered a new horse forged exactly to the toad child's specifications, promising it would be ready by noon the next day. The following noon, an iron horse weighing exactly 10,000 can, a bit over, was carried in by nearly 500 soldiers and placed in the dragon courtyard. The king was delighted and invited the toad child forward. In front of all the civil and military officials, the king appointed the toad child as prime minister with the title Lenh Tru, command destroyer. From then on, people called it Prime Minister Lenh Tru. The command flag bore the embroidered words, "Prime Minister Lenh Tru." Lenh Tru received the flag and the iron horse. He led the horse around the dragon courtyard once. Seeing how he commanded the iron horse, everyone marveled. This must be a heavenly general descended to earth. Lenh Tru led the horse to the king, patted its back. The horse raised its head, flicked its tail, and neighed loudly to the sky. Lenh Tru was very satisfied. Turning to the king, he said, "I accept the order to go slay the enemy. I go alone, with 1 horse and 1 flag. I vow to win and return, so I have no further instructions. Today I will annihilate the invaders completely. But before departing, in front of all the officials, I request 1 promise from your Majesty. If I return victorious, how will the court reward me?" The king smiled without hesitation and replied immediately, "Defeating the enemy and saving the country and people is a great deed. If Prime Minister Lenh Tru returns victorious, bringing peace to the people, stability to the state, and preserving my throne, I will reward you generously, as announced throughout the land. I will grant one of three things. First, half the kingdom to rule together. Second, one of my largest treasure vaults." The king glanced at the toad and paused. "Or third, one of my 3 beautiful princess daughters as your wife. In front of the entire court, I dare not speak falsely. Which will you choose, Prime Minister?" Lenh Tru calmly replied, "A general going into battle asking about rewards beforehand is truly unavoidable. Of the 3, I choose the third, to request 1 princess. If your majesty agrees, please give your word." The thought of marrying his daughter to a toad made the king hesitate. But with the enemy so strong, he had no choice. He promised Lenh Tru in front of all the officials. Lenh Tru bowed to the king and the court, then stepped out, patted the iron horse several times, and hopped on. The iron horse raised its head high, flicked its tail, neighed mightily, and sped like lightning straight to the enemy camp. Lenh Tru reined in the horse and stopped. He loudly called the enemy general by name. The enemy general poked his head out from his tent. Seeing a toad the size of a cup perched precariously on an iron horse, he sneered in contempt and didn't reply. He sent soldiers to ask what it wanted. From atop the horse, Lenh Tru bellowed, "You filthy, brutal invaders! If you want to live and return to your wives and children, withdraw your troops and surrender immediately. If you resist, you will all turn to ashes in an instant." The enemy general flew into a rage. He leaped up and challenged Lenh Tru to form ranks for battle. Lenh Tru said, "My army will arrive here shortly. Form your ranks quickly. I am a great heavenly general. I never attack by stealth. When your formation is ready, report to me at once." At first, seeing the tiny toad body, the enemy general had scorned it. But hearing its booming voice, he began to feel uneasy. Now, hearing it speak with the confidence of a seasoned general, he grew even more doubtful. He quickly ordered his troops to form ranks. When the formation was complete, the enemy general, sword drawn, rode out and shouted at Lenh Tru, "Hey, little toad! Has your country run out of people that they send a toad to fool me? My army is a mighty force from a great nation. We fight only worthy generals, not dirty toads with our swords. Go back and tell your king to come surrender his head." Lenh Tru said nothing more. He waved the command flag, kicked the iron horse's flanks. The horse raised its head, mane bristling, tail flicking, neighed thunderously, and flew like the wind straight into the enemy camp. As the iron horse charged, it spewed fire from its mouth and smoke from its nostrils. The smoke blanketed the enemy ranks, blinding them. Then the fire followed, burning everything to ashes: soldiers, horses, flags, tents, weapons, and the entire camp. In an instant, the whole enemy army vanished without a trace. Lenh Tru had won completely. He reined in the horse, glanced one last time at the ashes, then turned and galloped back to the court. The flag of Lenh Tru fluttered triumphantly before the dragon courtyard. Upon hearing the victory report, the king was overjoyed. After reporting the victory, Lenh Tru requested the promised reward. Knowing he could not refuse, the king said the princesses must agree first. He summoned all 3 princesses and asked who would marry Lenh Tru. The eldest and second princesses, seeing the toad sitting on a high table to the left of the throne, pursed their lips, spat, and turned away. When asked, the eldest princess frowned and said, "Father, why ask such absurd things? If heaven doesn't grant me a husband, I would rather remain unmarried forever than marry that stinking toad." The king smiled and turned to the second princess. She said, "Our royal father is the sovereign of a great nation. We are palace princesses. How could we marry not a human but an animal? I will never marry a toad." The king nodded and motioned to the third princess. The third princess replied, "I don't understand worldly affairs well, but I believe our royal father, as head of the nation, values trust above all. Only then can the people be at peace and the country prosper. Father promised to give one of us 3 sisters to the Prime Minister for risking his life to defeat the enemy and save the nation. Now my 2 older sisters refuse. No one wants to marry him. So the only one left to fulfill that duty is me. Why does Father still need to ask? Hearing the 3rd princess speak, the king's face darkened. He stood up abruptly and said, "Enough. From now on, consider that I have no such daughter. A beauty with flower-like face and jade-like skin, always fragrant as agarwood, how could she bear to lie beside a stinking, filthy toad? Get out of my sight." With that, the king drew his sword to strike the 3rd princess. The officials rushed to stop him. At that moment, quick as lightning, Lenh Tru hopped forward, opened its mouth slightly, and exhaled a thin stream of smoke. The king's precious sword melted into water. Lenh Tru said, "The 3rd princess speaks truly. I risked death to slay the enemy and protect your majesty's throne, yet now your majesty would betray me. Come to your senses." The officials knelt and begged the king to accept Lenh Tru's words. Seeing the situation was out of control, the king had to nod in approval and order the palace to prepare a wedding banquet for the 3rd princess. Still, he wasn't fully sincere. He turned to Lenh Tru and said, "Now that the 3rd princess agrees to marry the prime minister, please return home quickly to prepare for the wedding. Tomorrow at noon, I will send the bridal procession. At that time, stand at the head of the great river bridge at the foot of the capital to welcome her. When the 120 palanquins pass, identify the correct one carrying the princess, board it, and return home together. If you board the wrong one, belonging to a palace lady, then you will take that lady as your wife. If you choose correctly, you will be the royal son-in-law. If not, you will still be my prime minister. Now go prepare." Lenh Tru nodded, went out to the courtyard, hopped onto the iron horse, and galloped straight home. He wasn't too concerned about the king's trickery. But at that moment, the king went straight to the inner palace, summoned the queen, and discussed how to deceive Lenh Tru. "Tomorrow morning, I will have 119 palace ladies ride in palanquins to escort the 3rd princess. I told the toad to wait at the head of the great river bridge to welcome his bride, and choose whichever palanquin he points to. He'll ride in that one and take that woman home. This way, we'll swap the 3rd princess out of his reach. If he chooses a different palace lady, our daughter will return to us." The queen, sharing her husband's intention, immediately carried out the plan. That very evening, she selected 119 palace ladies, had them apply makeup and perfume exactly like the 3rd princess, to join the procession the next day. She also instructed them, "Lenh Tru is talented and will surely become a high official in the future. Tomorrow, if he chooses you by pointing to your palanquin, invite him in, return home with him, and live as his wife. I must tell you this in advance because yesterday the 3rd princess seemed reluctant. Listen to me." The palace ladies, unaware of the queen's malicious intent, bowed and agreed. Meanwhile, after leaving the palace, Lenh Tru was caught in a sudden heavy rain on the way home. He dismounted and took shelter in a dilapidated roadside hut. The rain grew heavier and the roof leaked more. Both the old owner and Lenh Tru were soaked. They huddled together on the bed to keep warm. The old man shivered with cold. Seeing this, Lenh Tru, heedless of the storm, hopped up to the roof and repaired the leaks. Soon the dripping stopped. The old man, no longer cold, invited Lenh Tru to sit on the bed and talk. Lenh Tru truthfully told him about his current mission. Hearing that Lenh Tru was on his way home to prepare for tomorrow's wedding to the 3rd princess, the old man nodded and said, "I know you, I know the king, and I know the 3 princesses. Each has her own character and thoughts. The 3rd princess is sincere and values honor. She truly accepts you. You have great talent but are trusting. Beware of being deceived. The king is cunning and unpredictable. If you're not careful, tomorrow you may not choose the right palanquin for the 3rd princess." Lenh Tru didn't think so. He laughed and replied, "Though I have a toad body, my talent is not lowly. How could I fall into the king's trap?" The old man calmly asked again, "Then let me ask, tomorrow, how will you know which palanquin is the princess's to choose correctly?" At this, Lenh Tru was startled. The more he thought, the more confused he became. He smiled awkwardly and said, "You're right. Facing this situation, I really don't know what to do. How would you advise me, sir?" The old man stroked his beard, chuckled, and said, "See? It's not easy. I know you're no ordinary being. Just be patient a little longer, and one day you will have great glory. Ahem. I am very grateful to you for repairing my leaky roof, which has been broken for 300 years. Countless travelers have taken shelter from rain or sun, yet none ever noticed or helped fix it. Now I can rest peacefully without worrying about sun or rain. So, to repay your kindness, I will gladly tell you the secret. Tomorrow, when welcoming the princess, inspect all 120 palanquins. The one surrounded by the most bees and swarming insects is the princess's palanquin. Go straight to that one and ride home with her." With that, the old man vanished. Only then did Lenh Tru realize he was an immortal who had appeared to help him. He silently gave thanks, mounted his horse, and returned home. Upon arrival, he joyfully told his parents the news. The old couple was both happy and sad. Sad because their child had a toad body and wondered how a toad could match a beautiful princess. Moreover, their thatched hut was crooked and shabby. Where could they find a suitable place for a palace lady to live? Understanding his parents' feelings, Lenh Tru comforted them and asked a neighbor boy to help add a bed and partition off a small corner room for him and his future wife. The next morning, he rode out on the iron horse. The horse flew like the wind, bringing him to the head of the great river bridge at the foot of the capital. Just then, the procession of 120 flower palanquins was about to cross the bridge. Following the immortal's advice, Lenh Tru inspected every one. Bees swarmed around each, but the 32nd palanquin had far more bees flying around it than any other. He went straight to it, calmly climbed in, and said, "This palanquin is the one carrying my beloved wife, the third princess. If I am correct, please open the curtain so I may see her face." The embroidered curtain slowly lifted. The third princess sat inside, looked out, and bowed to Lenh Tru. Lenh Tru nodded in return and entered the palanquin. The curtain closed gently. Lenh Tru said to the official leading the procession, "I sincerely thank His Majesty for sending you and the palace ladies to accompany the princess and make the wedding more joyous. But now that I have come to welcome the princess, please convey back to His Majesty the 119 flower palanquins and 119 palace ladies. Kindly lead the procession back to the inner palace on my behalf." The official ordered the 119 palanquins to return to the palace. The third princess bade farewell to the palace ladies and rode home with her husband. Upon arriving home, the princess smiled warmly and greeted everyone politely, respectful to her parents-in-law and courteous to the neighbors. She didn't mind the crooked thatched house or the bamboo bed prepared for them. Still, she felt a little anxious thinking about the wedding night ahead and how her toad husband would behave. When evening came and the lamps were lit, she quietly entered the small private room. That night, she couldn't sleep at all. She only intended to lie down for a moment to rest. But exhausted from a sleepless night in the palace the day before, she fell asleep without realizing it. At the first cockcrow, she woke suddenly. She was terrified to see, sitting on a chair in the corner, a handsome young man with skin as white as peeled egg, tall and strong, deep in thought. She jumped up, went to him and said, "Who are you, daring to enter here in the middle of the night? I am a married woman. You are not allowed in a married woman's private room. Leave immediately, or I will scream." As she spoke, she opened the door, intending to drive the stranger out. The young man was moved, tears welling up, and smiled tenderly at her. He stood calmly, pointed to the wall, and said warmly, "Princess, please calm down and listen. I am Lenh Tru, your husband. Look there. The toad skin coat is still hanging on the wall. Please believe my sincere words." The third princess looked bewildered. He continued more earnestly, "I am a heavenly being reborn on earth, but the time had not yet come to take human form, so I temporarily wore a toad skin. When I shed the toad coat, I become human. When I put it on, I become a toad again. Only when someone steals that coat will I become human permanently, and soon someone will come to take it." The third princess looked again at the toad skin on the wall and finally believed. Overjoyed beyond words, she took Lenh Tru's hand. The couple talked through the night. The next day, following custom, the husband and wife went to the bride's parents' home. The princess wanted her husband to stop wearing the toad skin, but Lenh Tru refused, saying, "I cannot discard the toad coat on my own. Please be patient a little longer, just a little longer." So he put the toad skin back on, returned to his toad form, hopped onto the iron horse, and followed the princess's palanquin back to the palace. Upon arriving at the inner palace, the third princess and her husband went to greet the king and queen. She moved naturally and spoke cheerfully. Her two older sisters, seeing this, curiously asked, "How is it, little sister? Is there anything interesting about your husband to tell us? You look so different." The third princess hid nothing. She told her sisters about her worries and astonishment on the wedding night. The two older sisters were half believing, half doubting, and even more curious to know the truth. The queen also wanted to see her son-in-law in human form with her own eyes. She reported to the king. After thinking, the king said, "Creatures like that often transform at night." "Very well. Tonight we will hold a grand banquet in the royal garden and secretly tell our daughter to invite her husband. Then surely the toad son-in-law will have to transform into human form to attend with his wife." The queen praised the king's wisdom. That evening, the king ordered a banquet in honor of his son-in-law and daughter. All civil and military officials, palace ladies, and princesses were invited. After the banquet, a grand evening party was held in the royal garden. The party was lively. The third princess stood on the high balcony, looking down and saw all the palace ladies, officials' wives, and generals present. She pleaded with her husband to shed the toad skin and join her. Lenh Tru respected his wife, but was reluctant. The princess asked why. He replied, "If I leave the toad coat here, whoever steals it will turn into a toad. I become human while someone else becomes a toad in my place. I truly don't want that." The princess asked again, "Then, if the person who steals the coat becomes a toad, will they ever have a chance to become human again?" Lenh Tru answered, "They can become human again if they live virtuously and kindly, and when they do, they will be even more beautiful and talented than before." Hearing this, the princess urged her husband to quickly shed the coat, convinced that the court and her relatives were all good people. Lenh Tru listened to his wife, took off the coat, hung it on the wall, and walked hand in hand with her to enjoy the party. Seeing Lenh Tru transformed, everyone congratulated the kind and virtuous third princess for finding such a talented and handsome husband. Some young officials secretly gathered in the third princess's room to peek at the toad coat. The king, curious, followed them. Seeing the coat hanging on the wall, the officials passed it around admiringly. They wanted to try it on one by one. The king also had the same idea. The officials respectfully let the king try first. But as soon as he put it on, the king shrank and turned into a tiny, rough-skinned toad. The officials crowded around, praising the magical coat. As they touched it, the toad skin gradually fused to the king's body. He couldn't remove it. Terrified, the king croaked, "Op, op!" and hopped around frantically. The news that the king had suddenly turned into a toad spread quickly. Everyone was in an uproar. The court panicked and, that very night, gathered to enthrone Lenh Tru as the new king and the third princess as queen. Lenh Tru ascended the throne amid cheers from the officials. The celebration banquet for the new king lasted until dawn. The end. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit like to support me, share the video to spread great stories, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the latest videos. Remember to click the notification bell to get updates as soon as a new video is released. Come back to the channel often so we can explore more fascinating stories together. See you in the next video.